Hey everyone, this is Father Fury. Uh, I know right now we are all inundated with anxiety and worry, and for good reason. We wake up daily to a deluge of gloom and doom from the world. This regime and the surrealness of living through a new once in a lifetime event every day, while still being expected to act as if everything is normal. This anxiety is compounded by carrying my friends and family's anxiety, having to talk to my trans daughter about a new event that requires yet another form of protection for her to learn, especially here in the South, right as she's entered adulthood. My instincts are to be a protector for those that I love and care for, and it breaks my heart that I can't remove their anxiety from them, as unrealistic as that may be. My news feed rolls over me with the subtlety of a Mack truck, creating emotional wounds and breaks that inevitably translate to physical pain and trauma. Greater pain is caused to my psyche when I acknowledge that some people I once knew as friends and family are reading or hearing these same news reports and headlines and rejoicing. Because we care, because we know others in our circles are feeling the same, we feel compelled to share the latest wave of horrors with one another. This helped us feel loved and less alone, but it also leaves us feeling tired, stressed, and angry. I used to believe that you shouldn't bring up a problem unless you had a potential solution to offer. And as I've grown older, I've come to understand the fallacy of that logic when it comes to community and political empowerment. So I come to you today sharing a problem without a clear cut solution. The only thing I can offer is a rule that we practice in our house, and one that I advise those that I coach and counsel in my 9 to 5 to adopt. We need to try to assume that our allies, our friends, and family are coming to us with the best of intentions and the best of empathy. As I've said, we're all tired, we're all stressed, and we're all easily pushed into hostility. Taking time this past year to understand my personal childhood trauma has helped me recognize why I do some of the things that I do and why I sometimes respond poorly to certain stimuli. For instance, I found that I'm a homebody because of my experiences. Home is my ultimate safety. When I have an event that requires me to leave, when someone stops by unannounced, or when there's a change of plans, it can totally wreck my calm. I share this because we all have our personal struggles. And when we're inundated with stress and anxiety, sometimes, oftentimes, hell, a lot of times, the last thing we want to do is go out and interact with others. But this is exactly what we need to do. We have to build up and strengthen our community, even when all we want to do is lock the doors, turn off the lights, and play Cyberpunk 2077 for this eighth time. There's strength in community. It fosters solidarity within us, creativity, and reminds us that we are strong as individuals too. This community building reminds us that the hateful laws, the acts, and words vomited forth by this fascist regime may seem Leviathan, but they are in reality just mere men and women of flesh and blood, mortal, just like you and just like me. I know many of us are afraid of the rhetoric, the actions, and the authoritarian moves that have followed last week's assassination of a fascist. What we must keep in mind here is that these things were already underway. They were just waiting for an excuse to move forward with implementation. The truth is that our loved ones within the trans community and anyone to the left of Joseph McCarthy have long been the scapegoats for any real or imagined tragedy in the US. Watching the right, who wants to cry cancel culture, effectively eradicate the First Amendment should come as no surprise. Everything that they complain about or accuse others of is simply a projection of their own intentions and deeds. The talk of criminalizing Antifa and labeling them as a terrorist organization has been ongoing since the American people rose up in the wake of George Floyd's execution and said no more. Our government has funded and supported genocides since this land was first colonized and has continued regardless of which political party holds power. ICE is already funded to the gills with tax dollars at levels that rival most world militaries. I don't share any of this to suggest apathy or create further anxiety within you, but to remind you, they've already shown their hand. While things may get worse, and they will get worse before they get better, we already know the playbook. They've telegraphed their punches before they've thrown them. What I mean is this: there's no action, there's no post, there's no speech that is going to suddenly make the fascists in power and their acolytes decide to be more fascist. They're already full throttle. And while fear is natural, there's also a rebellious freedom that comes from realizing that there's nothing we can do or say that will embolden them further than they already are. Now, I'm too much of an optimist to believe that everything is doomed, but I'm also not one to lie to people and sit there and say everything is sunshine and roses when it clearly is not. What I can say with honesty and with certainty is that for each of us to wake up every morning and more often than not, get up and face this world with forward momentum is nothing short of brave. But for those of us that are able, we need to take that bravery to the next level. And we need to do more than just face the morning. We live in a time of dragons, masquerading as powerful leaders and business executives, hoarding power and wealth at the expense of everyone else and at the expense of the planet. We are the dragon slayers. We may be all we've got, but we're all we need. And there's hope in that, solidarity in that. I believe in you. I believe in me. I believe in us. We will win. Love you.